Hi, I'm Jacob Eddy,
I'm Zachary Reyes.
and this is our game, Andromeda Trail. So the premise of our game was to create a Oregon Trail-like space game, inspired by games like FTL and other space roguelikes of that type.
One of the unique things about our game was a couple of things. First of all is that we had a map that was procedurally generated. Now, there were a set number of scenes that we had actually put into the game, but how you could traverse those differed every time you played the game. We also designed our game so that you could customize your ship. There was a heavy emphasis on customization.
So we developed what we like to call the module system, where the ship was made of several different points where you could attach weapons and other upgrades. We call these hard points. And so on this ship you have about 8 weapon hard points and 10 inside the ship that are secondary hard points. They're sort of for passive upgrades. So the player can actually walk around their ship, interact with these, and then place weapons down based on materials that they've gathered, either by killing enemies or by mining asteroids and stuff, by exploring around, and so that's how we did our sort of upgrade system for the game. That's one of our key features, I think, of what made our game very unique.
For our project, we used the C# language for all of our scripting, and the engine that we used was the Unity 3D engine. What I did in a big part of this project was working on the ship movement, making sure it was getting correct, and then also working on traversing throughout the ship. There's 2 different modes in the game. You can either be flying your ship and exploring asteroids and fighting enemies, or you can be walking around on your ship. And it was up to my turn, or my role, to make it so that both of those worked properly. And it was a little bit trickier than you would think at first, especially when you're walking around on the inside of the ship. Because you can rotate your ship any direction, I always had to make sure gravity was pointed in the correct orientation for the player. I also worked on the hardpoint system, making sure that the upgrade paths worked and made it so that Jacob could design turrets more quickly and be able to implement them faster into the game, so we weren't creating entirely new classes of objects every single time we wanted to add something new.
I worked on all the 3D models for the game, so I created the ships, the guns, the enemies, and all the asteroid stuff, and did the materials for them as well. So I was sort of the visual asset creator as well as the enemy programmer, so I made all the enemy attack logic and the turret targeting logic. So the way the turrets work is because flying your ship and constantly indicating which enemies need to be attacked would be sort of difficult for a player. We made it so that they always attack the nearest enemy, and so they automatically target your enemies for you, and you can focus on flying the ship. For the 3D modeling, I primarily used Blender because it was free and I could have it on my desktop.
So what I like most about our game is actually the customization, the hardpoint system in it. It's really fun to play around with and work on different builds. We have different types of weapons, like you can go for a cannon, which may take a while to reload, but it actually does a bunch of damage. Or you can go for the slow but steady method of using a laser. It's really fun to play around it with, and I think it's something that our game really shines in.
The customization, I think, also has to be my favorite part of it. That was sort of the main pillar of the gameplay. So I like the fact that you can upgrade all your weapons. I like the fact that there are multiple different gameplay styles, so you can play pretty passively in very long range. You can play like very heavily focused on resource gathering, like mining and stuff. There's all sorts of asteroids around that you can fly over to and mine and get resources from, or you can go just kind of on a killing spree and be a completely damage focused ship. So I very much like that. And I think if we were to continue the project, then that would be where we'd flesh out more stuff, some more customization things that make the ship feel more like the player's own. Right now we randomly generate the ship's name at the beginning of the game, but adding in some way for the players to name their ship or further customize their experience, I think would be the best place to bring the game.